There's something strange about the Rolls-Royce Dawn, not obvious at first, not something you notice just by looking at it, but once you spend time with it, it starts to feel different from every other convertible on the road, because while most cars are trying to impress you, the Dawn feels like it's trying to remove the need for that completely, and that shift changes everything. Stay with this, because later on there's a detail about this car that completely redefines what Rolls-Royce was actually building here. Modern convertibles usually follow a pattern. More power, sharper handling, more aggressive styling, everything designed to make the driver feel something instantly. But the Dawn quietly steps away from that idea. It doesn't rush to impress, it doesn't try to overwhelm you. Instead, it slows everything down. And that might be the first thing that feels unusual about it, because in a world built on speed and reaction, the Dawn is built on control. When you start driving it, the difference becomes even clearer. There's a V12 engine under the hood, massive, effortless. But it doesn't behave the way you expect. There's no sudden surge, no aggressive sound pushing into the cabin, just a smooth, continuous wave of power that builds so naturally, it almost feels invisible. You press the throttle, and the car moves forward without hesitation, but without drama. And that's where it starts to separate itself from everything else, because it's not trying to excite you in the traditional way, it's trying to calm everything down. And then there's the steering, not overly sharp, not artificially light, it has weight. But more importantly, it has intention. Every input feels measured, controlled, deliberate. The car doesn't react quickly just to feel sporty. It reacts exactly as much as it needs to. Nothing more, nothing less. And that creates a very different kind of connection between you and the road. Not intense, not aggressive, but steady, confident, almost effortless. But the real shift happens when the roof comes down, because most convertibles give you freedom. The Dawn gives you isolation. The outside world doesn't rush into the cabin, it softens. The wind doesn't hit you harshly. It flows around you. The sound of the city fades instead of getting louder. Even the light feels different, warmer, more controlled. And suddenly, driving stops feeling like movement. It starts to feel like a space, like you're sitting inside your own environment, moving through everything else. And this is where the experience becomes something more than just driving, because the Dawn doesn't try to pull you into the road. It separates you from it. You're aware of what's happening around you, but it never overwhelms you. Everything feels distant, filtered, almost like the world has been adjusted to match the car, not the other way around. And that feeling stays with you longer than you expect. Somewhere in the middle of that experience, you start noticing the smaller details, the way the materials feel, the softness of the leather, the precision in the stitching. Nothing feels rushed, nothing feels mass-produced, everything feels intentional, like it was designed to be experienced slowly. And if you're enjoying this kind of deep dive into cars like this, take a second to check the description. There are more details and tools we use to explore these machines on a different level, because cars like this, they're not just about specs, they're about perspective. And the more time you spend with the Dawn, the more you realize something unusual. It doesn't try to be memorable in a loud way. It doesn't create a moment that shocks you. Instead, it creates a feeling that stays with you quietly. And that's much harder to achieve, because it means the car isn't relying on speed, or sound, or attention, fonts, divisive attention. It's relying on something far more subtle. But here's where things start to shift, because not everyone understood what Rolls-Royce was doing here, and that misunderstanding changed the way people saw the Dawn completely. And that misunderstanding changed everything, but not in the way people expected, because the Dawn didn't react. It didn't try to defend itself. It didn't evolve into something sharper or louder just to fit expectations. It stayed exactly the same. And that's what made it even more confusing, because in the modern automotive world, everything responds. Cars get faster, more aggressive, more complex. Every new version tries to fix what people complained about before. But the Dawn never followed that pattern. It didn't adapt. It didn't chase approval. It simply continued being what it was. And over time, that started to feel less like a limitation and more like a decision, a very deliberate one. Because the more time you spend with the car, the more you realize it's not just designed differently, it behaves differently. Most cars reward intensity. Push harder on the throttle, they respond with more excitement. Turn sharper into a corner, they become more alive. Everything is built around amplifying your inputs. The Dawn does the opposite. It softens them. Push the car harder than necessary, and it doesn't fight back. It doesn't snap or react aggressively. It absorbs the movement, smooths it out, almost like it's correcting you without making it obvious. Even when you accelerate with intent, the power never feels explosive. It builds gradually, seamlessly, as if the car is translating your actions into something more refined before delivering it to the road. And at first, that feels unusual, almost disconnected, like something is missing, but then something shifts. You stop trying to force the car into being something it's not. You stop expecting sharpness. You stop chasing that instant reaction. And without realizing it, you start changing. Your inputs become smoother, more controlled. You begin to anticipate movement instead of reacting to it. Your driving slows down, but not in speed, in intention. And that's where the experience becomes something deeper, because now the car isn't just responding to you, it's shaping you. It guides you into a different rhythm, a quieter one, a more deliberate one, where every action feels considered instead of reactive. And in that rhythm, something unusual happens. The need for stimulation starts to fade. You're no longer looking for excitement in sharp corners, or sudden acceleration, or loud feedback. You start noticing different things. The consistency of the motion, the way the car maintains balance without effort, the way nothing ever feels out of place. Everything becomes stable, predictable, but in a reassuring way, not boring, not empty, just controlled. And that control creates a kind of comfort that's difficult to explain, because it's not coming from speed or technology or performance numbers. It's coming from the absence of friction, no harsh reactions, no unnecessary noise, no interruptions in the experience, just a continuous flow. And once you feel that, you start to understand why the Dawn never tried to change, because changing it would mean breaking that balance, adding sharpness, adding aggression, adding the very things it was designed to remove. And suddenly, the criticism it once received starts to feel misplaced. Because the car was never lacking something. It was intentionally leaving things out. It wasn't trying to compete in the same space as other luxury cars. It was creating its own, a space where driving isn't about intensity, but about clarity. And that realization leads to a different kind of question. Not how fast is it, not how sharp is it, but something much simpler. If a car removes everything unnecessary, what is left at its core? And more importantly, is that something we've been overlooking this whole time? Because once you start asking that, the Dawn stops feeling like just another luxury convertible and starts feeling like something much more intentional. And that's exactly where the story takes its most important turn. But here's where things start to shift, because not everyone understood what Rolls-Royce was doing here, and that misunderstanding changed everything. On the surface, the Dawn didn't follow the rules people expected. It wasn't aggressive, it wasn't sharp. It didn't try to prove itself in corners or push limits the way other luxury convertibles did. And for some people, that was a problem, because they were looking for excitement, speed, something that reacts instantly and demands attention. But the Dawn never wanted to be that kind of car. It wasn't built to impress in a moment, it was built to exist beyond it, and that's why comparisons never really worked. Put it next to something more performance-focused, and it feels slower, softer, less dramatic, but spend more time with it, and you realize it's not missing anything. It's just choosing not to show it. Power is there, control is there, engineering is there, but it's all hidden behind something much smoother, much quieter, and much more intentional. Because the Dawn isn't about what the car does, it's about what the driver feels. Or more importantly, what the driver doesn't feel. No stress, no urgency, no pressure to push harder. It removes all of that and replaces it with something almost unfamiliar in modern cars. Calm, and that calm changes the way you drive. You stop rushing, you stop chasing speed. You start noticing things you would normally ignore. The way the road stretches ahead, the way light reflects off surfaces around you, the subtle movement of the car as it glides forward. Everything becomes slower, clearer, more controlled, and without realizing it, you adapt to the car. This is also why the Dawn found its place with a very specific kind of owner. Not people trying to stand out loudly, but people who already know they don't have to. Because the Dawn doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive with noise. It simply appears, and that's enough. And through Rolls-Royce's bespoke approach, that presence became even more personal. Every car could be shaped around its owner, colors no one else would choose, materials selected down to the smallest detail, finishes that reflect personality instead of trends. At that point, the Dawn stops being just a car. It becomes something closer to identity, something that doesn't need explanation. But while all of this was happening, something else was quietly unfolding in the background, something that would change how this car is seen forever. Because without warning, without a final moment, the Dawn disappeared. Production ended quietly, no big announcement, no dramatic send-off, just a silent exit. And somehow, that felt completely aligned with what the car always was. Because Rolls-Royce had already started moving in a new direction, toward electrification, toward a different kind of future. And in that shift, cars like the Dawn didn't evolve, they concluded, which means something important. The Dawn wasn't just another model in the lineup. It was one of the last examples of a very specific philosophy, a naturally aspirated feeling of power, a fully mechanical sense of movement, a kind of luxury that doesn't rely on screens or artificial layers. And as the industry continues to change, that kind of experience becomes harder to find. And that's why the perception of the Dawn is starting to change. What once felt understated now feels rare. What once felt too quiet now feels intentional. And what once felt like it avoided attention now feels like it never needed it in the first place. Because in the end, the Dawn was never trying to compete, it was never trying to dominate, it was never trying to be the best in a category. It was doing something much more difficult. It was redefining what the experience should feel like. Not faster, not louder, but clearer, more controlled, more effortless. And maybe that's why it disappeared the way it did. No noise, no explanation, just gone, leaving behind a feeling that most cars don't know how to create. So if this kind of perspective on cars feels different, take a moment to subscribe and check the description for more tools, details, and ideas behind these machines. Because the next stories go even deeper, and once you start seeing cars this way, it's hard to go back.